Hello, I'm Jannarone, editor-in-chief of IPO Edge and Exec Edge here with Scott Lawson, who's the founder and CEO of BARTACO. We're here live on the floor at the ICR Conference in Orlando, Florida. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
All right. Scott, maybe you can just tell us a bit about the company that you started and what the concept is. So it's not just tacos, also not tacos. So tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. BARTACO is sort of a lifestyle brand. It's a beach brand. It's tacos and fresh squeezed margaritas. We like to say we're not a Mexican restaurant per se. It's very much sort of just reminiscent of all the great vacations you've taken to the best beaches around the world. You feel transported when you go there. It's healthful bites. We don't have a lot of sour cream and queso cheese, but we have a lot of great vegetables, spicy meats, delicious food. We started it 13 years ago in Portchester, New York. And we're up to 24 restaurants now. So we're kind of up and down the East Coast and over in the Midwest.
That's great. And let's see, you're here in Florida, right? So I think you've got a few restaurants. There's one here in Orlando. You're down by me in Aventura as well.
Correct. Yeah, we're in Dr. Phillips here in Orlando, and we've got one in Aventura. We've also got one in Wynwood, and also one in Hyde Park Village in Tampa.
Great. Now, are you a company-owned or franchise model, or is it a mix?
We're company-owned, no
company
franchises. Yep.
And is part of the thinking behind that, and I ask this when I'm talking about franchises, is it easier for you to control the concept and make sure things are done properly? Is that why you choose to keep them company-owned?
Yes. I mean, I think we're very much still developing our brand and really honing who we are, and we keep very careful control on the way we run things and the quality of our food and our drinks, and the franchise model has not been something that we've been ready to move towards at this point.
Great. So tell us a bit about how the business did last year. I mean, a lot of moving pieces there, right? Kind of coming out of the pandemic, got some inflation, recessionary pressures. How did you guys do?
We had a terrific year last year. Double-digit same-store sales growth. We opened 3 restaurants, and the customers were roaring back for us. Even during the tougher times of the pandemic, we still saw a lot of loyal customers wanting to eat our food and especially drink our margaritas. So we had a great year. Can't complain.
Nice.
We're going into a good year this year. I mean, so far.
That's great. Now, during the pandemic, did you guys switch to a takeout or delivery model, or had you already been doing some of that?
So we always had takeout and delivery as sort of an aspect of our not delivery, but takeout. We added the third party delivery during COVID, and we certainly saw it grow. I mean, at one point, that was all we were doing, and even as it's settled down, it's still much more elevated level of our business. It's about 12% of our sales, so it's still an important part of what we do. And people like to eat tacos at home. They like the kits that we do and the way that they can put them together when they get there, so they stay fresh. And it's definitely become a big part of our business.
Great. So tell us about on-demand hospitality. What is that?
Yeah, so that was born in the pandemic when we were trying to do contactless service. We had set QR codes at the tables, and instead of I think a lot of restaurants you'd see it was just a PDF and you could read the menu.
Yeah.
This was actually you could order through the process.
Oh, okay.
We found it really resonated with our customers because prior to that, we had always had almost like a paper card that you order the tacos on, like a sushi card. So our customers are already used to kind of doing the order themselves and then handing it off. So this just became a digital version of that. And as we got better at it, we found that our customers actually preferred it. They liked the fact that they didn't have to wait for a check at the end of the night. They could tap their phone and 2 margaritas would show up in about 4 minutes, and they're not waving around for a server. But we still have to lean into the hospitality piece, but just taking that ordering function away and sort of eliminating the server class allowed us to take the tip money and spread it amongst the entire restaurant, which created a real living wage for the kitchen as well as the front of the house, which was really critical during the last year or two as we've seen wages increase and people really want to go work where they can make a good living wage. So we've been able to stay really competitive with that and stay staffed.
That's interesting. Scott, I want to dig into this a bit more because just based on my conversations with friends, it's kind of hit or miss on these digital ordering things. Some restaurants don't quite get it right. Have you noticed that as well?
Oh yeah. I've seen it. I mean, it's a major change. We were lucky enough that we did it in COVID and we saw it resonate with our customers. So we had like a year to practice because the customers were just happy to be in a restaurant. This is back when, we had the glass partitions and everything. And so we had all that time to practice and really sort of work on the technology and sort of hone the model and also figure out, one thing, the most important lesson we really learned is it can't replace a person. Yeah. You still have to give an experience. We are still selling an experience. So we really had to, shape the model in a way that the customer still felt like they were being taken care of from the moment they walked in the door to the moment they walked out. And, we really feel like we've got a working model now that's great. And what's amazing about it is every customer orders with their phone. Yeah. So the amount of data that we get, and everybody gets a survey at the end. So we know if you had a great time or if you didn't, we know how we're doing. We know what progress we've made, and we've been able to really capitalize on that and get better and better and better at it. So we feel like we got a real head start by kind of making it a major initiative throughout COVID and getting it done.
Great. Bit more. So you touched on sort of the theme around the food, but what might we expect to see in terms of menu innovation? So additions you might make in the future.
Well, we're going on a trip to Mexico in a week and a half, so I'm excited. We're spending 9 days all across Mexico to get inspired. But our innovation, it's always going to be bold flavors. That's what we lean into: fresh ingredients, scratch made food. We don't go heavy on fried foods or on sour cream and things like that. It's always going to be more healthful vegetable, great meats and great tortillas. I think people want to eat. They don't want to feel bad when they leave, but they want to be satisfied. They want flavor. They want bold spices. And they want good cocktails. So that's what every one of our menu items has to fit into those categories to be a BARTACO item.
Great. We talked a bit about the Florida locations. You're mainly in the East Coast. You're also now, I believe, in Colorado, and is it Wisconsin?
Yes, Madison, Wisconsin. We're in Denver, Colorado. We're also in Boulder, and we're going to be opening late this year in Chicago.
Great. Tell me, when you're choosing locations, it looks like they're largely contiguous, that is, in the East Coast, but then you get some sprinkling in the center of the country. How do you decide where, the best locations are?
We really are looking for where we see our customers. With all the data we have, we are really able to sort of identify the different types of psychodemographic customers that like us and where they wander. So we try and find areas where we can open maybe 2 or 3 in a market at least, and then figure out where we can plant our first flag. And we want to be somewhere where young people are and they're out often. We want to be somewhere where families are and they take their kids to eat. We want to be where there's a lot of activity and retail and foot traffic. So we identify those certain markets and then just try and find that first flag plant. Then after that, it's growing.
Great. And Scott, you and I were chatting in the green room here, so to speak, before we jumped on, and I was very pleased to hear that you actually used to work about 2 blocks from where I live, my hometown, West Palm Beach. Tell me about your career and how you decided to to start this business, and based on what you're doing before that.
Sure. Yeah. I was a restaurant guy my whole life. Went to University of Georgia, go Dogs, by the way, but did not graduate. Went to college, ended up going to culinary school and working in kitchens, and I loved it. And I moved to New York and worked at Tribeca Grill at Nobu back in the 90s, and was very much fine dining, and then sort of moved into multi-unit. Eventually landed up in Connecticut with Andy Forsheimer and Sasha Marbututz with Barcelona as a partner with them, and then we created BARTACO. So it was funny. BARTACO was our first really fast casual for all of us. We had never really done that, but we had some ideas around how it could be different than what we'd seen in the past, and how it could be healthier and more of a lifestyle brand and more fun. And we've been kicking these ideas around for years. And I'll say we did this in 2008, which is during the last recession, and we were thinking about what people in a recession want. They want to escape. They want an hour of a getaway. They want a good boozy cocktail. They want bold flavors and bold food. And so we built that brand around that, and it's just been really wildly successful.
Well, speaking of recession, we've had a couple of other macroeconomic issues everybody's been dealing with. So supply chain and inflation, how has that impacted your business?
Supply chain has affected us a lot with construction, just waiting for a garage door or walk-in cooler, pieces of equipment. I mean, it's just added months and months to building. And obviously that costs money. That's been really frustrating. As far as like commodity pricing, we feel like it's gotten a lot better recently. So we feel good about that. The labor market's been challenging as well. But we feel like we actually did very well through it, and we feel like we're doing really well now. So we feel positive. I'll be honest with you, we have a really positive outlook for the year, for our brand and where we fit in the world, and we feel like supply chain, things like that, hopefully will get better as long as we don't have any other crazy things happen. So we're just going to be patient and keep doing what we do.
Great. And now, when you're looking out the next few years, do you have a target for how many locations you'd like to have?
It's growth, not for the sake of growth, but it's growth to make good decisions. So, we're going to open 6 this year, which we're 24 now. So that's a pretty big growth spurt.
Yeah.
Next year will probably be about the same. I mean, I think that's a good, healthy pace for us. But deals will dictate it. The opportunity will dictate it. And, we're going to kind of just wait and see what happens.
Great. Now, do you expect to grow organically for the foreseeable future, or could you ever look into acquisitions, buying other restaurants that might fit in well with that?
Never say never. Never say never. I am very dedicated to this brand and making sure that I believe in our culture. I believe in what we do, and I believe how we serve our guests is the right way. And if there's an opportunity to maybe find a brand that could fit into that or something, who knows? I wouldn't say no to it, but there's nothing on the horizon at this point.
All right. One last question here, Scott, and we're going to wrap it up with this. What are you most excited about in 2023? We're 2 weeks into the year, 12 months almost left. What are you excited about?
We are super excited to open some of these new restaurants in these new markets. We're going into Charleston. We're going into Chicago. I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited to see our team grow. We've got such a great team, and they've been through a lot throughout the last few years, and just to have a really steady year for them and see their growth, that's what wakes me up every day. It's, seeing them succeed.
All right, Scott, founder and CEO of BARTACO. Scott, thank you so much for joining us. We really enjoyed this.
Thank you.